Hello, my name is Dr. Chinwe Okudo, and I welcome you to today's episode of the Inspired Woman Show, your path to life purpose discovery, and it's my pleasure to have you joining on this episode. So, for this episode, we're going to be discussing on a very important topic that is something that most of us suffer from each day of our lives, considering the era that we find ourselves in. And the topic for today is how to overcome the joy stealer comparison. Yes, that is the topic for today, how to overcome that joy stealer comparison. You know, comparison is one of the things that steal our joy each day of our lives. And you can imagine, considering the era again that we are in, the era of social media, most of us, each time you wake up, for those of us that are opportune to have a relationship with God after spending the time in prayers or meditation or whatever is our routine for the morning, most people, one of the first things they do each day is to go on social media. And guess what? When that happens, that's where our problem begins. Because once you get on the social media, what do you see? You see this display of beautiful life, well lived, or beautiful life that people presumably are living, and then comparison sets in. You begin to feel bad about yourself. Maybe you wake up and you see something, you see someone dressed beautifully, and you ask yourself, oh my God, I wish I could have that. And next thing you know, you start feeling envious and you start comparing yourself with what you see. Or you see this beautiful home displayed on the social media, and you begin to compare yourself or compare the home that you live in with the home that you're seeing on the social media. Or you see this so-called well displayed, in our eyes, what may seem to be a perfect relationship, and then you begin to compare your own relationship with what you see being displayed on the social media. Or maybe you may get up and see one achievement that someone just had and was displayed on social media, and again you begin to compare yourself again to what you see on social media. According to Theodore Roosevelt, comparison is the thief of joy. So, how are we letting comparison steal our joy? And what are the implications that comparison can have in our life? Because I can tell you, when you engage yourself in comparing yourself to others or what you see, there's a lot of implications to that. There's a lot of damage that can do not just to our mental health but our physical well-being, because that can be very draining. That can be mentally damaging as well. So, not only does comparison steal our joy, or is emotionally damaging or mentally damaging for us, but it also steals our money, because we spend all the money that we have trying to meet up, trying to catch up, trying to come up to par, trying to feel enough, and again we end up causing ourselves some mental health challenges, which in turn takes away our confidence to be who we are called to be, because we are always seeing ourselves, comparing ourselves to others. And I like to quote this scripture taken from Galatians chapter 6 verse 4 on the easy to read version. And it clearly says, do not compare yourself to others, but look at your own work to see if you have done anything to be proud of. This is the easy to read version of Galatians chapter 6 verse 4. So we are commanded not to compare ourselves to others, because this can have a whole lot of damages to our health, to our mental well-being, to how we carry ourselves, to how we live our lives. And I'm going to share with us a couple of implications that this can have with us, and if we have enough time for today, we can share on how to overcome this joy stealer. Or if not, we'll have a part 2 of this segment, because I do not want to make this video long. My goal is to keep the videos short and easy to watch and watch through. Okay, so we're gonna talk about the implications that comparing yourself to others can have on you. So before I go to the implications of comparison, I want to quote what an organizational behavior professor has to say about comparison. His name is Thomas Mosweiler. According to him, it's one of the most basic ways we develop an understanding of who we are, what we are good at, and what we are not good at. So naturally, we are wired for connection and belonging, but when we spend our time comparing ourselves to others and trying to be like others, we end up putting our happiness, confidence, and mental well-being at risk. So before we continue, I'd just like to share with us a few things that comparison can do to us. One of the implications of comparison is what we call rumination, and is a state whereby negative and anxious thoughts are dwelt on for so long, and it's so hard to come out of it. You find yourself spending this time feeling negative, being anxious, dwelling in that, and not knowing how to just come out of it. It's just that feeling that you have when you wake up. You're just having a bad day, and you're just feeling so negative. You're just anxious unnecessarily because of what you have seen or what you're comparing yourself to, and you're going all day trying to figure, how can I match up to this? How can I get myself to look like this? How can I have this kind of life? And you just go about all day being anxious and feeling negative, and it's called rumination, and it's something that is very detrimental to our mental health. Another implication of comparison is depression. Comparison can lead to a severe state of depression that sometimes you find it very hard to come out of, because before you know it, it sets in slowly, and by the time you know it, you've gone deep into it, and you find yourself feeling so depressed that you don't just want to come out and associate with people or do anything, just because you are feeling depressed, because you're comparing yourself to others or to what you see on social media, and you begin to lose focus of who you are, and then become very anxious or very depressed, and just don't like yourself anymore because you feel you're not matching up or you're not meeting up to what you're seeing out there, or whoever else you think that you want to be like, or that you're comparing yourself to. Another implications of comparison is this: overspending. You find yourself overspending the money that you don't even have just to keep up with the Joneses. You see something that somebody else is wearing, and you ask yourself, how much is it self? I think I can afford that. After all, I'm making more money than they're making. Yeah, you might be making more money than whoever you think is wearing that thing that you want, or that you can't go to bed and sleep because you see them wearing that. You might make more money than they make, but you might not have the same kind of responsibility they have. So just think about that. They might make less money but have less responsibilities. Thus, they are able to spend that money in buying the so-called things that you think that you too can afford, and they just can afford it. But you might make more, but you have a whole lot of other responsibilities, making it very difficult for you to be able to afford those things that you see that make you not to sleep at night. You know, a recent study found that in neighborhoods where people win lottery, that their neighbors end up spending so much money within that time period, just in the effort to meet up or to keep up with the Joneses, and end up going bankrupt themselves. Remember, they're not the ones that won the lottery. Their neighbor won the lottery. Just that fact that someone in the neighborhood has won the lottery, they feel intimidated. They feel they have to meet up with that person that have won the lottery that they did not win, and they begin to spend excessively when they're not the ones that won the lottery. Their pocket might not be as fat as the one that has won the lottery, and before you know it, they go into bankruptcy. So please, let's be mindful of this. Let's remember that all fingers is for a reason, that all these fingers are not equal is for a reason. We all are different. We all are created to have certain things. We all are created to be certain things in our lives. I am not created to be what you are. You are not created to be what I am. You can admire people and work hard to be like them, but do not find yourself in the comparison trap whereby you begin to compare other people and want to be like them and begin to lose sleep and lose your peace because of what somebody else has that you don't have, or what else you see on the media that you do not have. I'm gonna have to wrap up this episode for tonight. I'm gonna have a part 2 of this topic, whereby I will share with you on ways that you can be able to overcome this joy stealer comparison. So I thank you for joining me on today's episode once again. And one thing that makes this encouraging is when I see your comments. Sometimes when I spend this time to make this video and put this show out, it's time consuming, it's very draining. I have a lot of things that I could be doing, but one thing that keeps me going is when I hear the feedback of how much these things are helping people. It makes me keep going. I might go some weeks without doing any show because I feel like I don't think anybody's watching, I don't think anybody's listening, but I've been getting a lot of feedback on how it's blessing people's life, and that's what motivates me to keep going. So one thing you can do for me to encourage me is to leave me your comments below, and also try to subscribe. If you've not subscribed, click the subscribe button and make it a point of duty to share this with someone. You never know someone that might be dealing with these issues that it might help. So share with someone, drop your feedback on the comment section, and let's talk about how these things, if you found yourself in the comparison trap, let's feel free, let's talk about it. It's nothing to shame ourselves for. We all have found ourselves in this trap, and our goal is to find ways to get out of that trap and ways to do better, so that we are not killing ourselves for something that we don't have, or something that somebody else has that we do not have. Once again, I thank you for stopping by, and do not forget to leave a comment and subscribe and share. It's my pleasure. Stay tuned for part 2 of this episode on how to overcome the joy stealer comparison. Thank you. Bye bye.